It's been a very wet storm with mountain snow, some gusty winds, and also some brief heavy rain. It's all continuing, but it should end soon enough. I'll let you know when.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
From nerve-wracking moments in Saratoga Springs,
And it was coming quick, and I could hear the thunder.
to crashes and slide-offs on Utah's roads.
People just have to remember there's a lot of standing water on the highway.
What this spring storm left behind.
Terrifying moments in the middle of the night leave a Utah family shaken.
My son's bedroom is down right there.
After a car came speeding through this yard this morning, one family is begging drivers to slow down.
Nearly 100 dogs seized from a Utah County couple. Disturbing details about where the dogs were rescued and what that couple could now be facing.
And after a gut-wrenching loss, what the Utah Jazz are doing differently as they get ready for Game 4.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
It has been a soggy end to the work week in northern Utah, and we've even seen snow in some parts of the Salt Lake Valley. So what's next as we head into the weekend?
Very good question. Utah's Weather Authority has team coverage for you tonight, starting with meteorologist Dan Pope. Hi, Dan.
Hey, good evening to everyone. We've been through everything today, from wind and that warm weather yesterday to cold and snow. And it's still storming. Some of California areas are picking up the precipitation, and so did southern Utah, as well as parts of the northern areas of the state. Eastern Utah also getting hit with more wind and rain. Well, most of the western part of the state is now beginning to show a little bit of improvement, but there still is a little bit of that patchy precipitation out to the west. We're seeing some showers decreasing, but still snow falling across the mountains. How much precipitation have we seen so far? It's been substantial. 1¼ inches at Torpedo Hill and Big Cottonwood Canyon. Federal Heights, 0.79. Upper Avenues picking up 0.78. Bountiful Bench also getting over ½ inch. Zion National Park, Hiram, West Jordan Bench, and Provo BYU kind of missing out a little bit in Utah County. That's a look at the weather forecast. We're going to show you how much warmer it will get later this week. I think you'll like that part of it coming up in just a little bit.
Yeah, and out here on the roadways, it's a little bit snowy up here near Highway 40, just past Kimball Junction in Park City. The big thing out here is the Utah Highway Patrol is really urging drivers to slow down. The majority of crashes they've responded to are because of weather today. The majority of those were speed related or not allowing enough stopping distance. Now, a storm this time of year is a bit unusual, and it's not every day that we do get this heavy downpour on our roadways of rain. And even as we've been talking about that little bit of snow in the higher elevations, Fox 13 News even capturing a few crashes on camera as we drove around in the Fox 13 Weather Beast. Earlier today, we did speak with the Utah Highway Patrol about their response in storms like this.
People just have to remember there's a lot of standing water on the highways. The roads are wet. Really have to have a good falling distance and really reduce your speed to prevent those crashes. We are seeing a lot of them that have to do with speed. And then just that falling distance, traffic coming to a stop, and they're not able to stop with them.
So far, just today, the Utah Highway Patrol has responded to 56 weather-related crashes on just the highways in the state. That doesn't include a lot of the things that we saw out there, whether it was in the canyons or the cities, and that number is definitely higher across the state than just that 56 number that was only on the freeways. Now, taking a look at things as we turn on the brights up top, you can see all this snow coming down as we head on to Highway 40 towards Heber City. We'll stay out here for a little bit longer and continue to watch conditions, but for now, back to you in studio.
A lot of snow coming down. Be careful out there, Spencer. Thanks so much. As you're about to see, there was a pretty scary wind whirl that popped up in the Costco parking lot in Saratoga Springs earlier today. Take a look at this.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, you can see the wind picking up things at a nearby construction site and then throwing them, tossing them around in the air. At this point, there have been no reports of damage from this dust devil. Fox 13 News spoke with a woman who witnessed it and then captured it on video.
When it was coming towards me, the wind was picking up so strong. I mean, things were flying around, and I thought, it looked like a tornado to me. I thought it's coming straight for me. So I kind of tried to brace myself, and then it moved right before it hit me. But yeah, it scared me pretty bad.
Yeah, the National Weather Service says it is fairly common for rotations like this to form as a result of either downburst winds or interaction with the terrain, or perhaps even both.
New at 9, Salt Lake police are searching for a suspect after a hit and run.
Officers say a driver crashed through a fence and drove through a yard, finally abandoning their vehicle early this morning. As Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree shows us, the family living in the house is begging drivers to slow down.
Everything just happened so fast.
Cesar Sanchez heard a loud crash in the middle of the night.
That woke us up actually around 3:30-ish, thinking it was an earthquake. To come to realize that it was a vehicle that ran through a yard.
The car barely skirting the house on the corner of Redwood Road and West 1530 North, hitting the house's gas meter.
The big leak, they ended up they evacuated us, neighbors next door, until everything was fixed. And now we're just waiting for an inspection to make sure that we're able to come back in the house.
This isn't the first time drivers have come crashing through Sanchez's neighborhood.
We've had another incident a couple years back with another vehicle up front.
He doesn't understand why people are driving so fast.
Slow down. It's wherever you're going, it's not worth it.
But Sanchez says it could have been so much worse.
I guess every parent's worst dream, right? You hope that you don't end up, in this case, my son's bedroom is down right there. My daughter's bedroom is right above that, so that corner right there is always kind of back of my mind, something like that could happen and it could be bad. So we're very blessed and fortunate it wasn't, the case this time around.
Officials are still looking for the driver who fled the scene early this morning. The Salt Lake City Police Department asks that anyone who has information to reach out. Reporting in Salt Lake City, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Today, survivors and activists gathered to discuss the prevalence of sexual exploitation. They hope their stories can help others heal and make a difference. Hosted by the Malou Foundation in Salt Lake City, this was year 2 of the annual summit. One point that a survivor shared is that business leaders have a tremendous impact and can make a difference in anti-trafficking and anti-exploitation. Others pointed out this issue can happen anywhere.
I would just say that we feel so safe in our communities, and we feel like this is something that, even if it is in America, it's not my community, it's not my neighborhood, but I can tell you it is because I was there. I was there in your communities and in your neighborhoods.
Organizers hope this summit was able to bring attention, education, and resources to survivors and those who support them.
In southern Utah, people came together to honor 2 cyclists from California after they were hit and killed on April 9th. This pair of brothers, Matthew and Adam Bullard, were participating in a spring tour of St. George before they died. Today, the Southern Utah Bicycle Alliance and Washington City announced they're placing ghost bikes at the spot where the 2 were hit until they can make a more permanent memorial.
The lives of the Bullard family will be forever altered because of this one irresponsible act. This has to stop, and it has to stop today.
Here we are with 2 white bikes, honoring 2 lives that did not need to be taken. Here we are, hoping these will be the last type of bikes ever to be installed.
This just meant the world. In California, it would have been just another day. And they just feel like the support and the love has been what's held them together.
Organizers hope the ghost bikes and eventual memorial will bring greater awareness and also highlight the need for motorists to share the road and not drive impaired.
Students at Clayton Middle School in Salt Lake City braved the rain this afternoon to protest the new state law that prevents transgender athletes from playing on sports teams. We spoke with an 8th grader who said it was heartwarming to see how many people showed up to support the walkout.
Some people find sports really important, and if sports can't be inclusive of all people, then I don't feel like that's right.
This is the latest in several school walkouts over the new state law. East and West high schools in Salt Lake have seen similar protests. Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson did something big today that has nothing to do with politics.
She graduated from college. The lieutenant governor told Fox 13 News last year that it was 29 years in the making. She originally left college for family and then jobs and public service before finally going back and earning her degree. The lieutenant governor says she hopes her experience shows other non-traditional students that they can do it too. She did graduate in the same class as one of her sons. Special moment.
A breeding operation busted. 83 dogs were seized from deplorable conditions across 3 locations in Utah County. How the dogs are doing tonight.
When we have dust storms, the wind is Mother Nature at work. But what about the dust? Coming up, we'll look at a big example in Utah of how something we did made the weather worse.
And it's all about Game 4. Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson talks about what they need to do tomorrow at the Viv.
Welcome back, everyone. We are still seeing the effects of the pandemic. Healthcare workers were some of the most impacted, and now the state is offering some help for people struggling. Called Caring Connections, these essential workers will be able to participate in COVID-19 support sessions through the University of Utah College of Nursing.
The history of this support group is very early in the pandemic. We collaborated with the Department of Health and Human Services, Office of Health Disparities. And in our discussion, we said, this is going to be really challenging for community health workers in communities of color, as well as workers working with older adults, because the impact is so disproportionate.
The initiative includes COVID-19 grief support and recovery support groups. All sessions are currently being held virtually. Now, there is no cost. However, registration is limited. If you would like to register, call 801-585-9522.
Well, the storms this week blew in from the southwest, picking up dust and moving it north to the Wasatch Front. While the wind is a force of nature, Fox 13 News anchor Max Roth has an in-depth example tonight of how humans can actually make a storm worse.
The biggest fire in Utah history raced out of the mountains and across the sage and grassland of Beaver and Millard counties. The Milford Flats fire burned for 8 days in July of 2007. But several scientists have concluded the effort to restore the burned area caused more environmental harm than the fire itself.
NASA's Earth Observatory page shows this photo of the burn scar. 363,000 acres, 567 square miles. An area 2.5 times the size of Zion National Park, burned in 8 days. Here's a Google Earth image before the fire and after. Most of the area was rangeland controlled by the Bureau of Land Management. 2 later studies led by government soil scientists show the rehabilitation of that burn scar backfired and likely hurt a lot of Utahns. They used chains to loosen the soil and dropped seeds from airplanes. Back to those studies in a moment, but first, take a look at how that dust can get to most Utahns. Take the storm in Utah this week. This time-lapse satellite video shows its path. The wind sweeps clouds straight up a line from St. George to Salt Lake City. That straight line cuts through the middle of Milford Flat. This 2012 study measured the amount of dust blowing from the burn scar. Soils that were unburned and soils that were burned and not replanted were 20 to 25 times less prone to erosion than those that people tried to rehabilitate. The authors writing the results showed soil treatments generally exacerbated rather than mitigated wind erosion.
Those mitigation efforts cost about $25 million. It's tricky to replant a desert, even in a wet year, and the years since the Milford Flat fire have been even drier than usual. In the newsroom, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
So good to be with you tonight as you huddle and stay warm in front of the TV. So cold today it was outside with the thunder and the winds and all the snow in the mountains, and it's still precipitating heavily. Let's get in just a little bit closer. Can you see your house here? Do you live up here in Layton? Well, most of the rain has ended except for right up along the bench. Here in the Salt Lake Valley, if you live in Taylorsville or Murray, you're seeing some light showers. Heavier snow is still falling across the mountains. Alta and Snowbird both have received 8 inches of new snow. And by the time when all is said and done, we'll likely have well over a foot of new snow. That's going to be some great skiable snow tomorrow. A little bit of an April surprise, maybe. Winter weather advisories, though, if you have to travel across the high country, going up towards Evanston, over Logan Pass, Sardine Summit, over Parley Summit or Daniels Canyon, you're going to find the roads to be slick and hazardous. Still a little bit of a snow advisory for a couple more hours here in southern Utah. Gusts of wind, downslope areas right there in Carbon and Emery counties and in the western Uinta Basin. Okay, this is what it looks like. A little while ago you could see a few lights as they were pushing the snow and patting it down at Alta, but snowing heavily up there. Temperature in Salt Lake City still about the same as it was this afternoon. It hasn't changed very much, but the one thing that has changed, the winds are not as strong as they were earlier, only 6 miles per hour. You'll remember earlier when we were together, it was running about 25 miles per hour steady. So tonight through tomorrow morning, chance for a few showers. You can still see them right here about 4, 5, 6, 7 in the morning. Outside plans if you're in Logan or here in Payson or farther south in Paraguna, over in the Uinta Basin, fairly good for the morning. Okay, then by afternoon, the sun will heat the ground and we'll pop up some showers, isolated thunder showers. These will also continue into the evening and then pretty much they'll be gone. So Sunday ends up being a reasonably nice day. 38 overnight tonight with those showers tapering off. Maybe a little snow in the East Bench areas. Tomorrow, peekaboo sunshine, 54 degrees for the high, and the rest of the state. Oh, it's going to be cool, but warmer than it was today with less wind. 51 for Whirl and Ashley Valley, 45 Park City, and it looks like St. George should hit 70. Nice. 72 on Sunday, 82 Monday. Sunshine on Tuesday, mixed with clouds. Be a little weak storm moving by. Wednesday it hits 90, then it cools a bit by the end of the week. For us tomorrow, those pockets of showers, will pop and drop and then move along. Sunday, a few clouds, might be an isolated shower near the mountains. By Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you have another weak storm going by, so clouds on Tuesday, we'll call it a cloud storm. Might be a few showers Tuesday night, Wednesday, a slightly higher chance by the end of the week, and it does cool down just a little bit. Typical April weather, finally, average weather.
The mission was to find and purchase those vans.
He lives in Utah, but his homeland is Ukraine. How he and his wife went to help the refugees.
Those people received this with humility, crying often, those men, and they were very humble.
Tonight, we hear from a Ukrainian man who is on his way back home here to the Beehive State. He just finished volunteering along the Polish border, helping his own people cross to safety.
Fox 13 News reporter Aaron Cox spoke with him and his wife before they left on their journey. Tonight, she shows us their experience helping their people.
A worldwide neighborhood has gathered together. This video shows people rallying for Ukraine in Krakow, Poland. But it's not just here.
Everywhere we went along the journey, we saw Ukrainian flags. Even this last flight that we took from Vienna to London, as it was about to land, they walked up and down the aisle. So they said, please, if you have any spare change, please donate to Ukraine.
Vasil and Liz Osipenko have been traveling across Europe for the past 12 days.
So our whole trip was like one big drive.
Their main focus has been to secure vans to help take supplies into Ukraine. But Vasil and Liz also spent time at the border crossing. Their contribution, speaking Russian and Ukrainian to these refugees. Liz served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Ukraine. Vasil grew up in Ukraine and later served a mission in Russia.
To be helping those volunteers that are there, because it's so much more efficient to have people that can speak the language at the border crossing on the Polish side.
And my common Ukrainian heritage, and to share with them that there is a purpose of life, that those people can have hope.
One refugee group came from where Vasil's cousin was living in Ukraine.
They recommended highly to get out with his family. So they're going to mobilize native Ukrainians to join the ranks of the Russian military to fight against Ukrainians. And so my cousin is actually will be one of them.
A heartbreaking reality for Ukrainians, and yet Vasil and Liz say Ukrainian refugees crossing are not just fleeing to safety, they leave to help.
They said if they were to stay at home, they would go crazy. So to be in such a circumstance gives them a chance to serve. And they said that service is the healing of the soul.
Vasil and Liz will arrive back home here in Utah on Saturday evening. Vasil's niece, who started the To Ukraine with Love organization, is still there. She has crossed the border into Ukraine, bringing military armor and humanitarian aid with her. In studio, Aaron Cox, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Oh, you okay? Mommy and baby.
Of the 83 dogs that were seized, 55 of them are here at the South Utah Valley Animal Shelter. I'll tell you when they could be able to find new homes.
Lots of drivers hate these back-end parking spots. Well, they're going away soon.
And Luke is back for Game 4. The Jazz gearing up for tomorrow afternoon's very important game.
Thanks, everyone, for being with us tonight. Let's get back to our top story. It is the weather. Certainly been a rainy night in much of the Salt Lake Valley and in the higher elevations. We're seeing this snow coming down. This is a live look, in fact, right now at Big Cottonwood Canyon from one of our UDOT cameras. Fox 13 News is tracking the roads right now as well.
In fact, reporter Spencer Joseph has been keeping his eye on the roads from inside the Fox 13 Nissan Weather Beast all evening long. And Spencer, what are you seeing where you are right now?
Well, we've kind of turned around from where we were at 9 and headed back towards Parley Summit. We're right now in the Jeremy Ranch area, and as you can see, it is still coming down up here as we head a little bit higher in elevation. Lots of cars taking it relatively slow as we make our way a little bit more towards Parley Summit, passing Woodward off to our left. And you could see even the bigger trucks taking this really, really slow, making sure that they aren't taking any chances, as this is kind of a mixture of rain and snow right now. Back towards the Park City area, it was coming down a little bit heavier in terms of snow, and people taking it very slow along Highway 40. We'll continue to watch conditions out here, but for now, back to you in studio.
All right, Spencer, thanks so much. A Utah County couple who have been running a dog breeding operation could be facing felony animal cruelty charges. Authorities say 83 dogs were rescued from horrific conditions at 3 of their properties. Fox 13 News reporter Eliana Sheriff tracked down the dogs and shows us their condition.
You know, they're locked in this place. They can't do anything about that. And to see the conditions they were in, it was terrible.
An anonymous tip last month led to a horrific discovery.
The kennels themselves looked like they hadn't been cleaned in a very long time, if they'd ever been cleaned at all.
Almost 100 dogs living in feces.
When we pulled up, we could smell. We didn't even have to get to the building. We could smell the ammonia.
Last month, animal control officers were tipped off to a Spanish Fork home where there were concerns about several dogs in bad living conditions. On the initial call, deputies found 2 puppies in a small kennel covered in feces and listless. They would later discover the owner lied about having them treated at a vet. Officials left a notice of action, giving the couple 2 weeks to clean up their operation.
In doing follow-up, he tried several times to get a hold of her through phone calls and text messages, and he never could get her to call him back.
Last Thursday, the dogs were seized in a full-scale operation involving multiple departments.
Several of the people involved in executing the search warrant said that they were retching and dry heaving as they go in there, that the odor was almost unbearable.
Further investigation revealed the couple, who sold puppies via their business, Maple Mountain English Creams and Field Goldens, had no kennel licenses and bred multiple litters a year.
Looking at what we've seen, like their website and stuff, you would never know.
All of the dogs in this room were part of that animal rescue. In fact, 55 of those 83 dogs are here at the South Utah Valley Animal Shelter, doubling their dog population overnight.
The dogs have been bathed, vaccinated, and some tested for Giardia with positive results, so now all the dogs are being treated.
A lot of concerns here. There will be many charges. It's potential that there may be some felony animal cruelty charges.
It's costing the two shelters around $1,200 a day to take care of the dogs.
It would definitely be best to get them out as soon as possible.
Now, this is still an active, ongoing investigation. It's still unclear exactly the charges that the couple will be facing. And as far as when these dogs will get new homes, well, that all depends on the timeline of the case and when the courts will allow them to be adopted out. In Spanish Fork, Eliana Sheriff, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Tomorrow is a big day in Utah politics.
The conventions for both the state Democratic and Utah Republican parties will take place this weekend. Utah Democratic Party delegates will be asked to not choose a candidate for U.S. Senate. That's because a number of high-profile Democrats are backing independent Senate candidate Evan McMullin in the race for Republican incumbent Senator Mike Lee's seat.
Senator Lee is facing his own Republican challengers, while it is expected he will easily win the Republican nomination at tomorrow's GOP state convention. He also gathered signatures to secure a spot on the June primary ballot against Becky Edwards and Ali Isom. We will have team coverage of both conventions tomorrow evening on Fox 13 News at 9.
We have a very unique opportunity to rebuild the street.
One of Salt Lake City's busiest streets is getting a redesign. The new look will feature more transit, bike lanes, also an end to a controversial type of parking. Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow has more.
Starting next month, construction will begin on a $20 million redesign of 200 South.
200 South has reached the end of its useful life.
From 900 East to 400 West, this major corridor through the heart of the city will get overhauled.
This is a rare opportunity to rebuild the street in a way that accommodates that level of bus transit activity, while also adding a lot of features that people have come to expect in an urban, modern construction project. So good sidewalks, good pedestrian ramps, bicycling facilities, street trees and greenery, safer mid-block crossings are all components of our project.
This video shows some of the new features like pedestrian safety changes, more trees, but the big changes will be dedicated bus lanes and bus islands. That's going to change how you drive.
The outside travel lane is going to be repurposed to be transit priority. That means that buses don't have to pull to the curb. They stop in lane.
The redesign will also get rid of an unusual type of parking. These back-in parking stalls will be going away. It was created in 2006 in an effort to be more friendly to cyclists, but has always had its critics.
Horrible. Pretty frustrating because you have to back up. So it felt like it was dangerous, to have to park in the middle, stop in the middle of the road and back up when there's a lot of traffic. If they're going to have parking spots right here, you should be able to park normally.
City transportation planners say it's no longer considered a best practice.
We were expecting to hear more concern, and what a lot of people had said is, take it out. It's very dangerous. We see a lot of conflicts.
Construction starts next month. From here all the way up to 900 East, the segment down to 400 West will start next year. In Salt Lake City, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
It is Earth Day, and despite the weather, Utah volunteers were out beautifying the state. The river they focused on today and what they were able to take away from it.
Our storm is going to turn into a blizzard in the Dakotas. What will happen to us as it moves away? I'll let you know coming up in your forecast.
Welcome back, everyone. Dozens of volunteers pitched in to eliminate litter in and around the Jordan River on this Earth Day. The Jordan River Commission, they teamed up with community groups for today's project. Bags and bags of junk piled up as the day moved along. It's all trash that was collected here, but may have originated someplace else as the river flows from Utah Lake to the Great Salt Lake.
The amount of trash that's available for volunteers to work on is a little discouraging, but if we get ahead of it and if everybody pitches in, and like I was saying, if everyone pitches in even in their own neighborhoods, in their own businesses, we'll see a real difference.
Yeah, I'll do a little part. Amy Horman is with the Jordan River Commission. She hopes everyone takes a moment on this Earth Day to remember the importance of picking up litter, because no matter where you are, that pollution travels through the state.
Decluttering your home can sometimes be an overwhelming task, especially when it comes to items containing your personal information. Today, many took advantage of the University of Utah's annual Declutter Day event to dispose of unwanted items. And it wasn't just paper, it was computers, VCRs, and many other electronics. The Utah Division of Consumer Protection teams up every year with the U to offer free paper shredding and e-recycling of items with personal information.
That personal information scammers can use to do fraudulent activities. Likewise with electronics. From a sustainability standpoint, we don't want to just throw those in the landfill, but they also could have personal data on them.
Many people also have the chance to dispose of clothing and household items. Those items will be donated to the Other Side Academy.
Still ahead, a health scare and hospital stay gave this Utah man purpose. His incredible life's work that was celebrated today.
And later in sports, the Utah Grizzlies opened up their latest playoff run tonight. Speaking of playoffs, the Jazz are 3 games into theirs, and it's time to start looking ahead to tomorrow's crucial game number 4 at the Viv. Back in a bit.
All right, the Salt Lake City Marathon is taking over tomorrow, and you know what that means. Several roads across the valley are going to be blocked off, and I want to try to help you out with some of those slowdowns. I'm going to zoom you in. This is a look at some of those areas you want to avoid, really stretching from downtown Salt Lake City through Sugar House into Mill Creek. These are the roads that are going to be closed off starting early tomorrow morning into the afternoon. Here's the thing. Any of those detours that you take, they're going to be jammed up tomorrow. Everyone's going to be using them, so make sure you give yourself plenty of time. Back to you guys.
All right, Jenny, thank you. It was 22 years ago that Roy Brownson Jr. had a heart attack. He was treated in the ICU at Ogden Regional Medical Center. It was then he felt it was time he needed to give back.
And that's exactly what he's been doing for the past 2 decades. Fox 13 News anchor Amy Ney has his story tonight.
I enjoy meeting with people. I've met so many wonderful folks here.
Roy Brownson Jr. is 91 years old and finishing up his last day of volunteering here at Ogden Regional Medical Center.
This is hard for me, but I have worked with, I had so many wonderful young ladies and young men.
Roy getting a little emotional talking to Fox 13 Friday about what it's meant to him to be able to help others here.
I didn't think I did a whole lot.
A thank you Friday from staff and fellow volunteers who think Roy did do a whole lot in his more than 2 decades volunteering.
He just has a true heart. He's genuine. He does it because he wants to. He doesn't do it for notoriety, for fame. He does it because he has a good heart. He's a good, caring person.
Volunteer coordinator Trudy Peterson says Roy has shown up faithfully each and every week despite physical ailments that eventually, Roy said, forced him to call it quits.
Just an old man that's wearing out.
Roy says a few aches and pains have made it too difficult to continue, although he says he will miss it, especially interacting with all the people he'd get to meet.
I was sitting at that desk there, and the people come in, you help them best you can.
Roy also was known for giving special toys to the kids at the hospital.
I had to go to the ICU once in a while, and I'd see little kids with their mothers just sitting there. They didn't have nothing to do but just sit there. So I go in there and they had the little balls there that light up. And what the heck, I'd just buy them and give them to the kids.
Spending some $900 of his own money at last count in the hospital's gift store, he says it was worth it.
It was only money. And if you can make a little child smile, and some of these people really don't have a lot, and if you treat them, what you get back is it's probably more than what I ever give.
Roy said he had a hard time with COVID, not for fear of the disease, but rather because hospital administrators wouldn't let him come to volunteer during that time.
They said that I was too old and they didn't want to take a chance of me getting something.
Happy he was able to be back at it since last fall, recommending all retirees try their hand as a volunteer.
I'd say it's the greatest thing they could do.
Amy Nay, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The angels among us.
Yeah.
Roy
man.
Brownson Jr. right there.
Gosh, you know what? He just volunteered and inspired, I think, so many people.
Oh, yeah.
For that story.
Yeah. If we could all be like Roy.
If we could, he set a great example for us. Maybe some of us will do some service. That would be kind of fun, wouldn't it be? Well, we have a storm, and it is moving into parts of Wyoming and North Dakota. Oh, it's getting crazy up here. They're seeing some severe weather. This is going to turn out to be a major storm for the Dakotas. They have blizzard warnings in effect. Here we have winter weather advisories in the mountains, and we also have some wind advisories for the western Uinta Basin and parts of Castle Country. Right now, some light precipitation may be enhanced a little bit by the Great Salt Lake. We're still seeing it coming up against the Wasatch, and so Alta, Brighton, Solitude, Snowbird, all going to be open for some spring skiing. Only it'll be winter-like skiing. 1.27 inches at Torpedo Hill, that's in Big Cottonwood Canyon there. 0.82 at Federal Heights, Upper Avenues 0.81, and other areas like Bountiful Bench, Zion National Park, Hiram, all picking up precipitation, and some of it kind of on the heavy side. Now this is looking off the top of the Ochre Cam. This is Tooele out here, and you can still see a few snow showers going on. Okay, 46 in Salt Lake City right now. The winds have died down. That's making it feel a lot better. And we have this upper low over us, but watch how it winds up as it heads into the Dakotas right here. Oh my, that is going to be a big bad storm going up into Saskatchewan and over into Ontario. Well, we'll see some pretty good weather towards the middle part of the week. A little brush by weather system Tuesday. Another little weak weather system that brings valuable precipitation to the Pacific Northwest on both Wednesday and Thursday. And this one tries to come in on Friday to give us some rain here in northern Utah. It won't have any impact on the south. But by, again, the weekend, a slight chance over the area on Saturday and probably again on Sunday. So we're looking at a temperature of 38 tonight. Tomorrow will be in the mid-50s after a little bit of rain here and there. Might be a little snow shower on the benches, more precipitation in the mountains in the form of snow. During the afternoon, we'll see the sun heat the ground up a bit. Might see some isolated summer-like thunder showers that'll pop up here and there, especially in the mountains. Temperatures, though, warming up slowly. And I guess slowly isn't really the word when you get to Wednesday. That's really heating up, 90 degrees before cooling back a little bit Friday. All right, 54 degrees Saturday. That pop and drop shower, you're going to need the umbrella and a rain jacket. Just be aware of it. If you're heading over the mountains, some snow will fall in the higher elevations, so you'll want to be careful as you travel. 67 on Monday before more clouds move in Tuesday. We'll call Tuesday a cloud storm, but it'll be 78. Wednesday, Thursday, increasing clouds, slight chance for a few showers. On Thursday into night, Thursday night, Friday, temperatures will be back into the low 60s as that little storm works its way in towards the Beehive State.
The wicked dunk by Donovan Mitchell last night, but all in all, it resulted in the Jazz dropping Game 3, putting all the pressure back on Utah for tomorrow afternoon's Game 4. The Jazz have dropped at least 3 straight playoff games in each of the past 5 seasons, so they know a little of what that feels like. Then again, hoping this postseason go-around ends up a bit different.
I've been in other series where I've started, we've been 0-2, losing the first 2 games at home and then won the last 4. We've been in series where we were up 3-1 and lost the series. Like, it's no way in shape or form over. We got to take care of the next game, and we understand that, and it's an important one.
It's a must-win. Leave it all on the floor. But every game in the playoffs is a must-win. It's not like we coming out here not putting in no effort to do something. These guys are playing well, and they're doing a good job of doing things right now. And, we got to figure out the adjustments and, kind of knock them off what they're doing.
Yeah, Game 4 is a matinee at the Viv scheduled for 2:30, where Mavs star Luka Doncic is expected to lace up for the first time all series. Game 5 then heads back to Dallas on Monday. Playoff action from Friday start in Chicago, where the Bulls had trouble with the defending champs. Former Jazzman Grayson Allen leading all scorers with 22 in this one, including 5 of 7 from deep, followed by the Drew Holiday to Giannis Antetokounmpo connection. As the Bucks take Game 3 by 30, Milwaukee also with a 2-1 series lead. Well, the Hawks were staring down a 3-0 deficit, tied at 104 with Miami, when Onyeka Okongwu puts back the miss, makes a free throw as well, but nobody's been better this postseason than Jimmy Butler. What a shot to tie it again. Then with the Heat up 1, Atlanta needing some Trae Young heroics, the runner drops for the lead, but could Butler bail out the top seed again? Shot up, not this time though. 111-110, the Hawks now back in that series. After taking the ECHL's Mountain Division under first-year head coach Ryan Kanasowicz, the Grizzlies begin their 2022 playoff run at the Maverick Center. Utah hosting Tulsa tonight and tomorrow for games 1 and 2, opening period. Some chaos around the net before the puck eventually slips through for the Grizz. Dylan Fitz on the goal. Then Ben Tardif doing this one all by himself, not to mention Top Shelf. 2-1 Utah after 1 period. The Oilers took the lead with back-to-back scores to start the second. Jackson Leaf right there, but Charles-Edouard Dastu responds for Green. Nice rip. Utah adding 3 more in the third, ending with 4 unanswered goals for a 6-3 final. And tomorrow is spring game Saturday for both the Utes and the Aggies. Utah football slated to begin theirs at noon at Rice-Eccles Stadium, with Utah State going at 1 o'clock in Logan.
Maybe a little slushy out on the field.
Yeah, a little wet.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring your long cleats.
Yeah, we'll need them. Also, do or die tomorrow for the Utah.
Yeah, not technically, but they do need that game.
Big time. Thanks, Morgan.
Let's pray. We'll be right back. Finally, we want to introduce you to the newest residents at Hogle Zoo.
They are cute. Jordan and Chelsea. They're 2 Amur leopard cubs that were born last Christmas. Bob is loving it. The proud parents are 10-year-old Zaya, who arrived to Utah in 2015 from England, and Dimitri, who came to Utah from Minnesota.
These cats are solitary in nature, so they do prefer to be by themselves. So you will notice it is just Zaya and her cubs out here. Dimitri, the father, is in another exhibit down the way. And so they will, in the wild, normally come together to breed, and then they separate, never to be seen again.
Typical cats, they like to be alone.
Yeah, Jordan and Chelsea will stay with their mother for about 2 years before being transferred to another zoo for breeding.
They sure are cute, nice and fluffy.
Until they rip their face off.
Yeah.
More then. Quick Cast is next.